What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So I was away all day. I just got home. We're doing a late video, but I do want to get this info out. So today there was a Destiny 2 Heresy Act 1 developer live stream, and they showcased the artifact. They didn't do all the artifact mods, so on Thursday those will be in the TWID. They did showcase some, but what we can see here is the anti-champion weapons, and that's what I want to focus on. So Void Flux also pairs with another Void one, so something like Choir of One. It's already a monster, but it's going to be disgusting next season. And then we also have Particle Deconstruction. It's actually called Particle Reconstruction now. Also Horde Shuttle, damaging unraveled targets with a weapon occasionally spawns a Threadling. So like I said, I will talk about this stuff more in detail after the TWID on Thursday when we get some more info. But right here, Particle Reconstruction, way back around the 30th anniversary time, we had one called Particle Deconstruction. And basically it ramped up the damage of fusion rifles and linear fusions. So if we read this, dealing sustained damage with fusion rifles or linear fusions partially refills the magazine from reserves and grants them bonus damage for a short duration against that target. So back in the day, it would stack up to 5 times, and that would be 40% more damage. And it also stacked with debuffs like Weaken and whatever, and things like Radiant. So this is going to be really, really strong. So the first one I'm going to focus on is auto rifles and fusion rifles. So I have moved around my weapons onto my Warlock. Also build for Balladors coming out tomorrow, so subscribe for that. But anyways, Bastion is a freaking monster right now. Ever since it got its rework, it's intrinsically unstoppable. So the artifact mod doesn't really matter for Bastion, but this thing is a monster. Don't sleep on it. Going to be really, really good next season. Then you have things like Deliverance or Riptide or Orvandil, which all can roll Chill Clip. This you can just get from the Gunsmith. So Chill Clip can slow enemies. So with Unstoppable Fusion Rifle, you will be able to stun an Unstop, which you could do if you froze it, but you can also slow an Overload. So these will have dual champion utility. So get yourself a fusion rifle with Chill Clip. Like I said, this is from the Gunsmith, Vow the Disciple raid, and this is from Shax, the Crucible vendor. Then you've got Scatter Signal, Slice, and Controlled Burst. There's also some Strand Synergy on the artifact, and this thing was a monster back in Season of the Wish, so it'll be good. You've got Pressurized Precision, which is from Iron Banner, Nox Perennial, which is just a random world drop. And then Arbalist is anti-barrier. So one thing to note, if they have intrinsic stunning capability for an exotic, then it won't get dual utility. So something like, what's it called? The shotgun from Root of Nightmares that can freeze and shatter. Conditional finality. It didn't get anti-barrier last season. So legendaries will be able to have dual functionality, like the Pulse Rifle Vantage Point last season could apply jolting feedback. So it could deal with overloads, and it could deal with Unstoppables thanks to Unstoppable Pulse. These will be the same. They should be able to deal with overloads with Chill Clip from the Slow and Unstoppables from Unstoppable Fusion Rifle, but the exotics, Arbalist, will not be able to stun Unstops because it intrinsically has anti-barrier. So I just wanted to talk about that. And then anti-barrier, there's not many options. So Revision 0, in my opinion, it's the best primary in the game. Still going to be a monster next season. And then you have Euphony. So just yesterday, I made a video talking about a new damage meta, and it centers around Euphony. Linear fusion rifles are getting a 10% buff in 1 week with Heresy. And this thing already hits really hard. And then you'll also have Particle Deconstruction. I know it's the raid exotic from Salvation's Edge, so not everyone has it. But if you do, get a Euphony build ready. It's going to be really, really good. Then in the energy slot, Gravitic vs. Gravitic Arrest has Demo Chain Reaction. Then you've also got Null Composure, which I think you can just get from the kiosk. I think you can just buy this. But Reservoir Burst. Void is also featured on the artifact pretty heavily next season. Like I said, I'll go into the artifact mods more on Thursday, but this and this are Void mods, so it could pair really nicely with these Void fusion rifles. Cartesian with Vorpal is always a classic. You can get it from the Gunsmith. This is from Neomuna, can roll with Volt Shot. So again, If you have Volt Shot, you can jolt overloads. So this will be able to deal with overloads, or it can deal with unstops thanks to Unstoppable Fusion. Withering Gaze, this can weaken as a fusion rifle. So that could be really good. You ADS for a little while. So then when you're stunning that unstop, you're also going to be weakening it. Sadly, you can't get this right now, but it was available in the Dawning. Vex Mythoclast was an absolute star when Particle Deconstruction was around. It's already a really strong primary, so it's looking to have a really good season next season in episode Heresy. Auto-loading Reservoir Burst on Loaded Question. And then Lorentz Driver is also getting a big damage boost. It's getting actually a rework more to get ammo back. It's in the twit if you want the details, but this thing will be good. Jotun never really gets used, but it's a fun weapon. And then Telesto is also getting a rework. Plus with the Void synergy, Telesto is looking really, really good next season. I'm excited for it. And then I'll just show off... Oh, geez, what happened? So here's a whole bunch of linear fusions. I couldn't put them all in here, but I will just kind of hover over them so you can see them. They're all bound to be pretty decent next episode, but I will just show the ones that I have in my inventory, and I will just show you some fusion rifles real quick. There's also Plug 1 from the Nightfalls, and Royal Executioner is one of my favorites, but I don't think you can get it anymore. Techian Force is from Last Wish, and this is from the Taken King raid, King's Fall. And then this was from Season of the Witch. Not sure if you can get that. And then Zealot's Reward is also going to be really good. Auto-loading, holster, and controlled burst is a really good roll. And they're a rapid fire, so they deal pretty good DPS. And this is craftable if you run Garden of Salvation. So that's another really good looking fusion rifle. But a lot of them are from raids. So if you don't raid, sorry, but that's just how it goes. And then for fusion rifles and linear fusions in the heavy, you've got 1000 Voices. It too was really good when we had Particle Deconstruction. Queenbreaker can apply blind, so it's just really, really good. It's also getting a rework, so it's going to be more user-friendly as you can swap between scopes in combat now. So this is looking to be really strong. Sleeper Simulant, oh my god, one of my favorite weapons in the game. So ready to have it back, being a monster. And then, of course, you've got Cataclysmic. This was the former, GOAT of linear fusion rifles. But then some others got bait and switch, like Scintillation, Envious, bait and switch, Rapid Hit. This gets a ton of good rolls. It comes from Nightfalls. This, again, was from the Dawning. Withering Gaze, bait and switch. Envious Arsenal, bait and switch. So this one gets really good rolls. Taipan can be crafted, and I think it's just a random world drop. So, yeah, Triple Tap Frenzy. I still have used this recently to solo GMs. It's a very, very good fusion, especially with triple tap for ammo economy. Clown Cartridge bait and switch if you want an arc linear fusion, and then Storm Chaser from the Duality Dungeon. So there's lots of good fusion rifles and linear fusions and such. So that's the first one. I'm going to switch characters because I've preset all these weapons up. So just 1 second. So this we've got snipers and glaives and such. So we have Unstoppable Glaive, which we haven't had in a long, long time. If you know me, you know I love glaives. I've got a glaive build coming out this weekend. So again, like and subscribe. Also, you can't get health back, and I have lots of Devour builds coming. And that glaive build is really good for getting health back, as you'll see if you watch the build video. But anyways, we'll talk about glaives, and there's also Anti-Barrier Sniper. Wait. Oh yeah, there it is. Anti-Barrier Sniper and Anti-Barrier Sidearm, which I'll get to. But yeah, we'll look at the snipers and the glaives here. So, we've got Succession, which you can get from OG Onslaught. This one is Discord Snapshot, but I think it also rolls with Reconstruction Vorpal, which is the roll I have on the Crafted Deepstone Crypt one. But you can get very similar rolls on the Onslaught one. This is from Last Wish. Rewind Rounds Kinetic Tremors is great for Anti-Barrier Sniper. Chill Clip and Chaos Reshaped. I was using this just a season ago when we had Anti-Barrier Sniper Rifle at the end of episode 1. The Echoes one. So again, Chill Clip can freeze and slow, so it can deal with overloads and unstoppables, and it's anti-barrier with Anti-Barrier Sniper. So again, from Salvation's Edge, but this thing is an absolute monster. Izanagi's Burden is always fun, always strong. And then we've got Rake Angle. Hopefully we get a Strand Glaive next season, but right now this is the only top slot glaive. It can roll with Chill Clip. It can roll with close to melee. So again, with Chill Clip, you'll be able to deal with overloads to slow, and then you'll have Unstoppable Glaive. So this thing is looking to be an absolute monster. And then in the energy slot, Albruna D, I believe this is from Gambit. Gun and Run. Yeah, I think this is from Gambit, but anything with Vorpal is really good. And then I actually thought this was a Hawkeye one. Yeah, and then it can have Hawkeye breach armaments, so that just gives it more utility against vehicles and constructs. So very, very good sniper rifle. And the Velita F also is like that. And this can actually roll Deconstruct and Vorpal, so it's even better against vehicles. This is just like a pure god roll on this thing. I got like the double perk drop from a Master Lost Sector. This thing is awesome. Get one if you can. Again, Void is going to be really good next season. Omniscient Eye, again from Garden of Salvation. 4th times is really nice for ammo economy. Plus this is a 140 and they have a lot of ammo reserves. So 4th times Vorpal, really, really good on this thing. I do have the crafted version. I just haven't crafted it yet because I didn't want to waste Ascendant Alloy because I basically had my god roll. Yeah, as long as I run backup mag, so I didn't really need to craft it because I already got the god roll. This was available in episode Revenant. I have demo Withering Gaze, which I really like. I'm not sure what you can get in the left column, but yeah, Withering Gaze is really good. I think I have Explosive Payload Withering as well, but again, Withering Gaze. So if you just ADS for a little bit, you're going to be able to apply Weaken and break the shield with Anti-Barrier. So that thing is looking to be really strong, especially because we don't know for sure, but I haven't really seen anything like Concussive Reload like we have this season for a weapon to apply Weaken, where grenade launchers can this season. So Withering Gaze is looking to be really strong next season because we don't have anything like that. And then Cloud Strike, I just love Cloud Strike. It's going to be really good. Looks like they're leaning into Arc next episode as well. So that's going to be really good. On to Glaives. I love Nezarex's Whisper, Demo Frenzy, but I don't know if you can get this anymore. Maybe from like Dares of Eternity or something. I'm not sure. Ecliptic Distaff, I think you can buy from the kiosk. Replenishing Aegis Destabilizing Rounds is actually a really good roll, and if you want to build more into melee damage, then you can use close to melee, so very good utility there. Enigma, I have over 13,000 kills. This was the first craftable glaive, really, really good. I've got Impulse and Impulse Amplifier and Frenzy. I love this glaive, and there's some more glaives, which I will pull up right here, but lots of them are from things like Trials and Raids. So I wasn't going to feature them too heavily. Like Albedo Wing, you can't get, but it was from the Dawning. This is from the Ghost of the Deep Dungeon. This, I don't know if you can get anymore. This is from Trials. Though this one is really good. Autoloading Frenzy. And I also have another one with Volt Shot right here. Impulse Amplifier, Volt Shot, or Frenzy. So that's like a pure god roll. This is from Vow of the Disciple, Lubre's Ruin. And then Forthcoming Deviance is from Salvation's Edge, Demo, Chaos Reshape, Destabilizing Rounds, Vorpal. Like this thing can get some really crazy rolls, but yeah, you do have to raid to get those ones, but they are really, really good. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, Heavy Glaive, Winterbite. I am a huge Winterbite stan. This thing is awesome. It's heavily featured in my Hunter Glaive build and the Glaive build that's coming this weekend for Titan. Winterbite's an absolute monster on, and Glaives are kind of getting a buff to their 3rd hit to deal double damage. So this thing is going to be an absolute monster next season. Darcy also getting a buff. It's getting kind of some Galahorn treatment, and I've already soloed GMs with Darcy again when we had Anti-Barrier Sniper last time. It pairs really, really nicely with Crown of Tempests. So anyways, I have that Crown of Tempest build up. If you want to watch that, it's a monster of a build. It's on Prismatic, and Stormtrance is getting a buff. Darcy's getting a buff, so that build is getting juiced even more. Whisper the Worm is always goated. Such a good sniper. So much reserves, especially with field prep. Like, the thing's just a monster. And then I threw Legend of Acreus and Grand Overture on here because they're Arc, and like I said, Arc could be heavily featured, and these things just hit like an absolute truck. This applies blind. This has no artifact synergy, but it's still going to be a monster. And then we go to my Titan, who has the last of the weapons. And those are, as you can see, Overload Machine Gun. Sorry, I'll pull this up. So yeah, unstoppable linear fusion and fusion, overload machine gun, anti-barrier sidearm, which is always really, really popular, anti-barrier sniper, and unstoppable glaive. So one thing you may notice here is there's no primary specific anti-champion mods. So sidearms would have been the only one, but now that we have rocket assisted ones, they are not just primaries anymore. You can get them in specials. So double special loadouts are completely back on the menu. They've always been on the menu. I've been running a lot of double special, especially with like Choir of One. But this episode, glaives are super ammo efficient, and I think they're kind of getting a buff. Anyways, we'll talk about that more on Thursday. But yeah, you could easily run a glaive and a sniper, or a glaive and a rocket sidearm, and then a machine gun or something, or a linear fusion, and be completely fine for ammo. Also, hazardous propulsion. This is a bit of a sneak peek to another build that I think I also have coming this weekend. I've been hard at work because I leave for a friend's wedding in like 2 days. So yeah, anyways, I've been cranking out the videos and I'm very excited for you to see them. So we have Breachlight, Pugilist Swashbuckler. I love this Pugilist role. Get you a Pugilist one if you can, because melees are becoming more and more meta. And they're about to be in the next episode as well. So yeah, if you can have your melee up more, that helps a ton. And Breachlight hits like a truck, especially with Swashbuckler. I really love this role, but this thing has a ton of good rolls. We also have the Buzzard, which I don't even know if you can get anymore, but if you do have a Kinetic Tremors one, that's obviously going to be really good for anti-barrier sidearm. People love Final Warning. Again, I didn't get in too much into it, but Horde Shuttle is here, and this is an artifact mod that gives unraveling rounds. So strand weapons are looking to be really, really good. So I already talked about Euphony is going to be a monster. Final Warning is also already a monster. Like, it hits super hard. And now it's going to have anti-barrier sidearm plus Horde Shuttle and unraveling rounds. So this thing is going to be absolutely juiced. Traveler's Chosen can also become strand if you're running a strand build, because it's got osmosis. So something to think about, and it helps feed your abilities. Rat King I just threw in here because Rat King shenanigans. And then Forerunner is absolutely excellent with anti-barrier sidearm. Again, I've used it to solo GMs in the past with anti-barrier sidearm. It's great. And then, of course, you've got things like the Call and Tinasha's Mastery. So, again, Tinasha's slow for overload. Stack 3 shots that will freeze, so it can deal with unstoppables. And then you've got anti-barrier sidearm. So this thing is about to be the jack of all trades sidearm next season. Even though these rocket assisted frames are getting a nerf, they're still going to have a whole bunch of utility. They're still going to be great, so don't sleep on them too much. And then Cryesthesia, same type of thing. It can freeze, and it will have anti-barrier. So again, that dual champion functionality. I do think it'll work, because here's the difference. Arbalist has it intrinsically anti-barrier, where there's no intrinsic unstoppable. It's just applying a freeze. So this will still have anti-barrier, and it can apply freeze to stun unstops. But if it's intrinsic like it is on Arbalist, that's when it typically doesn't work. Then we've got a Baron Action, Heal Clip Incandescent. This thing also can roll Pugilist Demo, which I also have a roll of for huge ability uptime. Again, going to be really, really good. Indebted Kindness with Volt Shot. Applying Jolt will deal with overloads. And then you've got the anti-barrier. Buried Bloodline. I've already talked about how good Void weapons are going to be. Hence why I've got Choir of One here as well. Just, you can't not mention Choir of One because it's just such an outstanding weapon. But Buried Bloodline is going to be really, really, really strong next season. Heliocentric, if you did want to run a legendary primary. Demo Frenzy. It can also roll Heal Clip Frenzy, things like that. Excellent sidearm. Demo One for All on Insurmountable. You can get this in episode Revenant right now. Anonymous Autumn is from Shax. Demo Frenzy. This thing also gets a ton of good rolls. Also can get Volt Shot, I think. And then Trespasser has always just been one of my favorite weapons. And it's a monster when we have anti-barrier sidearm. I actually used this in the Day 1 Salvation's Edge raid in the Vault encounter, or whatever that encounter is called, with the puzzles and the shapes and stuff. Really, really, really excellent weapon. Don't sleep on it. And then we move to the machine guns. My baby Xenophage. It's not the best with Overload Machine Gun, in all honesty, but I do just love Xenophage. And with it being on the artifact, it's always going to be an overcharged. So even if it's not Solar Surge, if you're running Overload Machine Gun, that will give it that 25% extra damage boost. So I did just want to shout out Xeno just because I think it's an excellent weapon. And then we've got Thunderlord, which already has intrinsic overload, but Thunderlord's an absolute monster. So obviously I have to mention it. And then Deterministic Chaos. So this is what I was talking about. Strong against barrier champions. Because it has intrinsic anti-barrier, it's not going to have overload. But I did want to mention it anyways because it is quite good. And like I said, there's quite a bit of Void Synergy next season, so it deserves a shout out. Then we've got Hammerhead, which you can get from OG Onslaught, Rampage Killing Tally. This also gets a ton of good rolls. I also have one with Fourth Times Desperate Measures. That is a monster for ammo economy because of Fourth Times a Charm, so also really good. Pro Memoria from the Pale Heart. Reconstruction Bait and Switch, which used to only be on raid machine guns. This is a very, very good roll, especially with extended mag. You can overflow your mag by quite a bit. Corrective Measure I'm throwing in here because the Vault of Glass weapons are coming back as craftable. We don't know the perks. You might not be able to get Demo Thresh anymore, but that's honestly a really good perk combination, and I'm glad I hung on to this thing. 4,200 kills on a super old machine gun. Commemoration, you gotta shout it out. Reconstruction Killing Tally, it's still a monster. Yeah, but again, it comes from a raid. Same with Song of Year Ute, Reconstruction Bait and Switch, but comes from a raid, but it is very, very good. Fixed Odds from the Duality Dungeon, it's my favorite solar machine gun, but Avalanche is also good. Unwavering Duty from Trials. And then you've got the Marcato 45. This is more a utility one with Demo and Hatchling. So you could pair Demo and Hatchling, so then you're making a bunch of hatchlings with your Add Clear machine gun, and then you have Euphony, because Euphony's damage ramps up every time you're dealing damage with Threadlings. So dealing sustained damage with this weapon spawns Threadlings, and then Threadling damage increases this weapon's damage. So you can be making Threadlings, you could have Threadling grenades on, and then anytime you swap out to Euphony, it's going to be absolutely juiced because you're making Threadlings with Marcato. And then you have Particle Deconstruction, and say you have Horde Shuttle and that Unraveling Rounds one. So yeah, anyways, Euphony with this is just going to be a monster. So I did want to shout out Marcato 45. It's just a random world drop. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I was gone all day. So hopefully this video finds you before you go to bed, or just you're watching it in the morning. If you did watch all the way to the end, I appreciate you for watching. Like I said, I have heaps of awesome content lined up for the first week because I am gone, unfortunately, so I have to miss the launch of the dungeon and things like that. But I will be streaming the Saturday when I'm back. I'll be trying to beat the contest dungeon, and then yeah, anyways, then just testing out. I'm excited to play with all the new aspects, with all the new artifact mods. I hate that my artifact's not going to be fully kitted out for the dungeon because I am gone those first few days, but that's how it goes. Game to Give link in the description, so if you still haven't got some cool emblems, check that out. Donate to a good cause. And yeah, anyways, that is going to do it for me. Like I said, if you're still here, thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to show you all the good content I have and the awesome builds. They're actually going to go super hard in that activity they showed because they pretty much all have health recovery baked into them. So yeah, really happy about that because I did make them before we saw the artifact mods, basically because they're kind of evergreen builds that are good every season, and I'm finally getting around to making them. So anyways, I keep yammering on. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.